My name is Reggie. I'm with Oakland Hyphae. I am co-organizer of this event. And I wouldn't necessarily call myself a cannabis person, at least on the above ground side. And I've long since stopped really with my cannabis with the below ground side, just because I wasn't making any money. Like it wasn't making it, yeah, well, yeah, a lot of work and a lot of risk. But it was always, I remember coming from the East Coast, I'd always look and see what you guys were doing over here in Cali and just aspire and I mean, shit, mushrooms, I mean, the weed wasn't for me, but mushrooms was for me. But over the time, I've made connections through the community in various ways, and this is how I come to all of you all. I know Tucky Blunt personally. I don't know the other two of you personally, but what I'd like to do is take a second just so that, A, you could give your intro to me and as well as the people in the crowd that might not know you. So I'll start with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie, so much. I'm really excited to be here. And I love this small, intimate gathering so we can all participate together. My name's Andre Special. My neighbor in Venice Beach when I was, a kid, like 20, 22, was Jack Hare. And and he took, it was literally like being struck by lightning, and I always talk about how love is the best business model, and I'll just start with that right there. Like, the way I met Jack is because I'm somebody, I say hi to every single person I meet on the planet. He was my neighbor. Hey neighbor, what do you do? What's up with you? And he was like, I'm working on this hemp thing, and I'm like, what's hemp? And he's like, weed. Do you like weed? And I was like, fuck yeah. So that just started me. And next thing you know, I'm living on the bus, and we're touring around having crazy adventures. And it just really, I'm somebody, I had aged out of foster care, and I was just pretty angry at the world. And instead of, directing that anger inward, as a lot of times can happen, it gave me a vehicle to put it out there. So it's been my life's work. That was in 1990. I have opened 6 dispensaries across the state. I try to open a community center for the community every time I do that, but I've opened 5 community centers, and over and over again, I'm just a living example, and I just feel like this message is so important right now, that love wins. Like, it's not some hippy-dippy shit. I opened the first dispensary in Venice Beach. I got raided so hard, and we also had a community center, the day free for all the community services, acupuncture. We had surfboards people could check out, like a library. And so when they came after me really hard, trying to put me in prison, my attorneys were like, this isn't the one, like the community center and the work that we were doing. And so that kept me out of jail. When it came time to get permits, people would literally call me and be like, we want a dispensary in our town, but we want a community center too. And then all the way to today, there's a lot of hardship in the cannabis industry, and a lot of people coming in with investment money, dirty tricks and stuff. And the thing I run right now, CBCB, that opened in 1996 with my adult kids. And I think the thing that keeps us going is our community work. When you walk in, we have a free food pantry in our lobby, and lots of other stuff. But people in the community are loyal to that. So we're still here because love wins. I'm still here because love wins. And that's basically what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Me? Oh, yeah, I'm telling them I'm up here, so you gotta run the room downstairs without me. But yeah, thank you for that. And I was listening, I did hear that. I have questions. Tucky.
So hello everyone, I'm Tucky Blunt. How can I describe me? I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I'm a granddad, and I got 2 grandsons. And I've been selling cannabis in Oakland since I was 16. I'm 45. I always looked at cannabis as a business. Even when I first started selling it, it was like a thing where I knew I had a talent to do something. Yes, it was illegal, but I knew that was my way to, help people. went to my first dispensary in 1999. My grandmother took me there. I had no clue dispensaries existed. She came out with a white bag. It was right on 19th and Telegraph. And she was like, I said, Granny, what's that? She was like, it's weed. I said, you got weed out of a store? She was like, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, I want one of those. Had no clue that I would ever open one. But at that moment, I went and got my first cannabis card. Started working at several cannabis clubs. This was back when she was talking like, this was the era where there were cannabis clubs everywhere. You could find one to work at. And the one thing I noticed at all the clubs I worked at, all the owners didn't look like me. And I was like, well, one day, if that ever, presents itself, I want to do that. 2008, it presented itself. 2018, it presented itself. I got arrested for selling cannabis in 2005 on 80th and Holly in East Oakland, and continued my life. I've always worked. I always believed selling weed was easier to do at work, because I know when you get paid, we are both doing a service for each other. I don't have to worry about being on a corner. I didn't want to go to jail. I knew I was doing something illegal. Let me figure out the best way to do this. I also detailed cars. I also threw parties. So everything I did, I would have like maybe 5 streams of income just from work, besides work. That worked for me. Got arrested for selling cannabis, still was working, worked for the county of Oakland, county of Alameda, city of Oakland, all that, nothing changed. 2017, I got a phone call from a good friend named Mike Marshall, who sings I Got Five on It, the actual voice of the I Got Five on It. He's like, hey, Tucky, you ever caught a weed case in Oakland? I said, yeah, why? He said, well, I know 2 sisters out of Atlanta, a mom and daughter, who are there's something in Oakland called an equity program, but they need someone who caught a weed case to qualify for the program. I'm like, well, what would they want from me? He was like, just to meet him for now. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll go meet him. I asked him what he wanted. We negotiated something. Well, I'll just tell you. I was like, what you want? He was like, I don't know. If I grow weed, if you open a store, can I grow my weed? Can I sell my weed in your store? No problem, bro. And I'll give you $10,000. We had our deal, cool. I go meet the sisters. I think everything is fine. They were scammers. I didn't know. But we ended up getting the license. We applied in December. January, they had a bingo ball drawing. We won one of the first social equity licenses in California. I was the first social equity retailer anywhere in the world. So I'm the first ex-felon for selling weed to own a store. The store was 13 blocks from where I caught my case. So I'm really selling weed in my same zip code legally where I got arrested for that. So, yeah. Fast forward and why I'm here with Reggie. It's my 5th time speaking at this event. Every year I come speak.
This is the first one.
Yep, this is the first one. But I'm here, and this topic came about from our conversation when he called me to be here. I have a big problem with what's going on in the cannabis space, and my problem is no one's talking about it. Everyone thinks you can get in here and get rich off growing a plant or having a store, and it's not the case. You need to do ancillary things around the cannabis space that don't involve 280E, that you can use the money to enhance your stuff in the flower space. But these things aren't being talked about, and it's making people come in to the game thinking they can get rich overnight. I have a big problem with that, and that's why I told Reggie, I said, bro, we need to really talk about what's really going on in the space, and all these big corporate weed events won't bring me in to talk about it. And not just me, these ladies can attest to it too, but that's why I'm here. They don't want us to talk about it, so I appreciate Reggie for sharing his platform with us to be able to discuss what's really going on in the cannabis space, and that's why I'm here. And yes, my last name is really Blunt. It's really Blunt, I promise. I got blunt wife, blunt kids, blunt daddy. But no, that's. Thank you, Reggie, for sure.
Yo, thank you. Yeah. I mean, really interesting stories. Thank you for that. And yeah, he did inspire the name of this. We've always had cannabis be a part of what we've done. Cannabis has always been a part of my life. And if you walk around here, you're gonna smell tree all day. You might see more tree than you see mushrooms, and so it's always going to be a part of it. I don't see myself as like the cannabis guy, but also cannabis is in the culture, so thank you.
No, thank you.
And Miss Linda J, the person I've heard so much about, can you please tell the folks just a little bit about you and how you got here and what you got going on?
All right, so I'm Nurse Linda J. Jackson. I got here because of fear. I'm stepping out of my fear.
Okay.
Being on this stage has given me such a anxiety. I didn't sleep much last night because I'm like, well, what do I say? How do we make this conversation? So what I'm going to do is kind of synopsize how I got to here.
Okay.
I'm a mother, a young mother, and a grandmother, and I had the opportunity to deliver my oldest granddaughter. And I got only daughters, and then I have a son and one daughter. Excuse me, let me back up. 3 granddaughters, a daughter, and a son. I'm the eldest granddaughter. I'm the eldest niece. I'm the eldest cousin. So I've always felt like I had a responsibility to be around the relatives and my friends, because I was always the eldest one, even though I didn't know that was my duty. I just did it. It just came automatically. And I felt like I had this spirit guide that guided me on forward and forward and forward. Into that, I got an accident. That accident took away a whole portion of a world that I had grew in. Just as that happened, it was a month before my 21st birthday. When I came out of the coma, I didn't know that I had children. I didn't know anything about who I was or how to ask questions about who I was, because I couldn't form the language. I couldn't say anything. I could just look around and see and wonder. And then I would go back to sleep, and then in that sleep, it's like, do you want to live or die? What you want to do? What you want to do? And sometimes the light would kind of draw you, because the pain was excruciating, and not being able to walk, not being able to talk. A month prior to that, I had just started smoking cross-the-border weed, dirt weed, bad weed, but it made me nice. I worked for the phone company then, and I could deal with the phone service, which was rapid. I was an operator. So once I had this accident, I didn't know anything about that part of my life. I just laid there morning, noon, and night with the wired mouth, and they would bring me Jell-O cubes, beef broth, and toast. Milk. Hated milk. To today, I don't do milk. But I can't say that. I can't tell them what's going on for me. I had friends that would come, but I didn't know who they were. But they stand at the foot of the bed and be crying and talking about, she gonna leave us, and she gonna, what? What are they saying? I'm right here. Hey, yo, I'm right here. But I wasn't awake to say that. As time went on, the nurse that took care of me, by giving me the drugs that would stop the seizures, that would stop all the things that was happening to me, the pain, so it was around-the-clock meds that kept me crazy as far as I'm concerned when I look at it now, but it's helped me to survive. But these friends, when they would come, the smell they had on them would give me a different feeling. So my nurse recognized that, and she asked them to come more often, because then I wouldn't be a bitch. Because the one arm that did work, when they brought that cube Jell-O on that tray with the same thing 3 meals a day, I'd dash it, I'd make a mess, because I couldn't do anything else. I had no words. Finally, they put me in a private room, and they let my friends come and blow this marijuana on me. I didn't know that's what was happening in those moments. And I lived in Las Vegas, a red state, go to prison for a seed. But we didn't give a fuck. We're about healing. So on down the road, a year later, I'm I know who I am. I'm learning. I've been in therapy. I've had reconstructive surgeries. I've da-da-da-da-da. Now, I got to deal with the kids that I didn't know I had. And they didn't know where their mom was and what had happened. I'm trying not to make it a long story, but I got to say this to let you know why I'm here with this now and giving it all my life, over 53 years. Because without it, I couldn't sit here today. And those that knew me didn't understand that, but that nurse understood. And my friends just knew that we got to be high. Linda J, well, my name was Linda Faye then. I changed it as I got older. She needs to be high, and she'll be all right. I go home, You have lots of friends, but when you really can't do for yourself, you don't have a whole lot of friends. They come a little bit, but that gets old too. God blessed me to be able to come through the fog of all of that. And at the end of the day, marijuana was all I needed to bring me through. I learned to walk on my own. The words started to come. I learned to cook, feed myself, become the person I needed to be. I got my kids back. I got to understand what had gone on. Until they were probably in their 20s, they never knew about my accident. But this gentleman here worked at the Black Box, and he allowed us to have a 45th birthday party. And that's when I told my story. And that was the first time my kids heard that story. So I fought the fight to have marijuana legal from the age of 20 and a half. And I'm still doing it. I became a nurse as soon as I was able to walk, talk, write, and fight. Because I had to fight, because I couldn't learn as fast as they needed me to learn to do the work of being a nurse. A lot of it was bullshit. I wanted to know how I could use my healing hands to heal a person. How can I take this marijuana for what his issues are and help him to understand how to use it to make his body be better? Because marijuana works from the rooter to the tutor. However you want, you can plant it, you can build houses, you can eat it, drink it, rub it, and it works, and it works instantly. The difference being when you smoke it, it works fast, but it don't last, so you smoke a lot. You eat it, it could be too much. Just gotta ride with it. So I chose I didn't, the spirit's bigger than I, chose for me to be the best in this marijuana industry that I could be, because I felt like that was what I was called back from, that laying in the bed thinking I was dead to being this vibrant 73-year-old black woman, proud to say I overcame so much to be where I am today, but I still have so much to overcome, because in this new administration, we, the people, got to fight more to keep this cannabis alive and free for us, because as they raise the prices, while we're trying to support the businesses, we can't do it as seniors. I get ... for an income. If I didn't have a little bit of a job, I wouldn't be able to just have the little basic things of life. So I said all of that to say I am very grateful to have led the life I led, to be able to raise my children, and they'd be wonderful citizens, not homegrown. They are citizens of the United States of America. I am a citizen of this United States of America, proud to fire up. I burn one. I keep calm to burn one. Okay. And so, I'm going to end it with, as we did in church, and so it is. Because the one thing, as I've gotten older, I have stories. And I love to chat. One of the things Andre didn't say that we do at CBC, because I work for her, every third Sunday, we have a community that we built. We're probably going into our, fifth time now, with the Black Panthers and other organizations, Auntie Frances Food Project. We come together, we feed people, we cook. Auntie Frances cook, Sharifa comes and help. It has become a wonderful community. And what I see is people come out of their illnesses and diseases and learn through this medicine that we're able to share with them from the farmers that come down and give it to them free. Just show up and show your love, because we got it. You might have to go deep down sometime to get it and bring it up, but it's there. And when you allow it, it's so much. And you grow, and you share, and you give, and that's really what CBC does every day, every single day. I know because I'm there. There's no color limit. There's no age, well, there's an age limit, because I ain't gonna let you come in unless you're 18 and older, and you gotta have a medical. You gotta have a medical. And sometimes I have to talk to myself and say, you can't do that, because I'll talk. You have to be 18. You can't bring your children. I don't care how upset you're getting with me. What you do at home, you do at home. But in our house, we can't do all of that because we don't have the money to give to the government because they're going to shut us down if we don't pay our way out of it, if that makes any sense to anyone. Where did Reggie go? Because I'm trying not to keep talking, but I could keep talking.
No, Reggie went down. He had to go handle some stuff downstairs. So, yeah, oh yeah. Round of applause, please. Please, please. So he left me kind of in charge, even though I'm not in charge. We're all in charge of this together. But what I will say in listening to both of these young ladies, there's a lot going on in the space. And we just found out that the lady who I told you guys I met with and all the stuff did her the same way. I didn't know.
A lot of dirty dogs in the
And
industry.
I think, of course, like I told her, I needed to meet them in order to be where I am now because I believe everything happens for a reason. So I'm glad I went through those losses to get the lessons I needed to learn. But had there been a communication, had I known this lady then, this young lady then, I wouldn't have met them people because there wouldn't have been in my circumference because I would have known that they were pieces of shit. Those are the type of things that need to be called out. There are a lot of pieces of shit in our space who have brought down our space, who people look up to. And me personally, like, I'm not trying to be a whatever you want to call it, an agitator or whatever, but just keeping it funky. I don't give a fuck. If you're a shit person, I'm going to call you out for being a shit person. And I'm going to have my proof of why I say you're a shit person. I'm not just going to say it just because. I'm going to be able to show facts of what's going on. And something else that I just got from Miss Linda that is not being talked about either is how we are forgetting about our older community in the cannabis space. You've priced them completely out. You've made cannabis like extra boutique-y, $80 apes, and I don't believe in that. We're forcing them out. How are they going to get their meds safely? Where can they go? Like, they're missing the boat with not having consumption lounges out here on a regular scale like they have bars. You should be able to go to the store and go sit somewhere safe and get your product because you can't smoke at home, you can't smoke in your car, you can't smoke here, you can't smoke there. But I can't smoke at the place I got it from, but I can go on and on forever. But the reason why we're here is to talk about what is good and bad, but what's really going on in the space. Can you update us just with, I know you guys are doing what you guys are doing, but on a funkier level, what could be better for you guys to be able to make money? And how is the cities playing a role in not allowing us to make that more money?
Well, you know, it's really rough out there because, like Linda said, I started as an activist and I opened dispensaries, you know, kind of similar to you. Like, there wasn't women, you know, friendly space that I felt like I could go in, and that was important to me. But you know, yeah, it's hard. I started as an activist, and dispensary was a way to kind of reach more people. And to me, cannabis is just part of the healing. You know, like Linda said, that this thing that we do with the Black Panthers, it's community, like self-survival programs, you know? And we bring in elderly, and we invite disabled people, and we have an amazing DJ, and you know, everybody's dancing, and there's people in walkers dancing and stuff, and that is so important and part of the healing. But and when we first opened back in the day, that really was what the clubs were about. But now people think that it's this lucrative thing, which, like you said, it's not. I mean, we are struggling so hard. We have bullshit taxes, like 280E. We don't get the same allowances that any normal business does. You know, there's all kinds of things where the federal government's literally trying to shut us down, but now it's just through taxation. And it makes it harder and harder for us to give back these programs. But what's even worse, really, is there's people coming in, big corporations with investor money, and they just burn, like, investor money. I'm talking like $300 million. Like, there's been cannabis companies that had that kind of investment fund, and then they come in and they burn that money trying to shut all of us down, and then they burned all their investor money, and they're gone, and like 90% of the locals that they tried to shut down are gone too. So, you know, when again I talk about love, really is the best. It's important on all sides. You know, there might be some shiny little corporate, you know, new person in town that looks appealing for some reason, but if they're going to shut down everyone around you just so they can jack up the prices when they're the only ones left, you know, really we got to think on long, you know, the long game. Like please supporting the places that support the community. There's people that come in from out of town and their only goal is to see what they can suck out of the community, you know, but there's places that are still exist, and CBCB is one of them. Like I'm just feel so honored I was given the torch. It was started by some anarchists in 1996, and we're running it now as much on the community ethos as we can, but we need everybody's support. And yeah, like I talk about love all the time, but I learned some really hard lessons that you got to protect your heart, because when you do have something that people perceive as valuable, and when you are so open and giving, the snakes will come in from everywhere. So that's been a really tough lesson to learn, that, you know, we're just trying to do good things, not even make a profit, literally operate as a not-for-profit,
Yes.
and people will still come in and want
Yes.
to take what you have,
Crazy.
you know? So thank you so much for bringing
So watch
that up.
this. So in talking and just hearing, we are going through the same things, but a lot of us aren't talking about it. So I'm gonna give y'all a scenario. My store was on 66, right across from the Coliseum. I had gated property, I had security, all the bells and whistles. And I always kept food trucks in my parking lot. I had a consumption lounge. I had the first outdoor consumption lounge in Oakland. So I bought DJ equipment. So I would have DJs come in, rotate in and out, let people rent the lounge, have food for my staff so they didn't have to go far for lunch, whatever. Made it a nice place. The city of Oakland sent, I guess, environmental health to my store every day for almost 4 months to harass the people who were cooking in my parking lot. Mind you, I've launched about 60 to 70 businesses out of my parking lot, from food trucks to clothing, apparel. I would let people come for free. I didn't charge them a dime. Hey, come do your thing. Your staff get a discount in the store. You got a safe parking lot for your customers, whatever. The city will come mess with me all the time. For us, that's a way for us to make extra income, because if people are coming to buy food, they're going to come in the store. That's money to us. We understand that y'all want to get taxes, right? We get that. But if you lower the taxes, we'll sell more product. They don't understand that because they never hustled before. It doesn't register to them. So while I'm doing what I can do to try to make extra money for the store to give y'all more revenue, they're coming to mess with me. So I asked them, I'm not a snitch, but I'm like, hey, bro, you can go 5 blocks down the street and there's Mexico on the corner. You can get a full meal, 17 different restaurants on the corner of 50th and Coliseum Way. And you coming to bother me. The answer from the city in writing, in email, said, well, they're illegal. We can't mess with them. But since you have a license, we can come bother you. How do we survive in that type of environment? And then I'm going to do you one better. Something else she didn't mention, but it's a rumor. The streets is not killing dispensaries. The streets is going to be the streets. I have people that come from the streets, like, hey, Tucky, I just bought this, and they'll come right to my store and buy weed in the store. They come to the store because of the convenience of what they want to do. They support you because they want to support you, but they still going to support their local man who got the $15 eighth. There's nothing wrong with that. The streets is not killing dispensaries. It's not. It's overtaxation and overregulation, and no one's talking about it. That is a problem. Linda J., come on now.
Okay, so I don't know much about those things. But what I'll tell you, another part of my being a nurse and why I call myself Nurse Linda J., I opened clinics to do medical cannabis recommendations back in 2000. My reason for doing that was I was tired of hearing and seeing on TV all of my black brothers and sisters arrested for cannabis. I almost got arrested, but I refused to get out the car. I'm not getting out the car. I didn't do anything. I ain't carrying nothing. I'm not guilty of anything. My son, to who I had on the phone, said for you to give me my ticket so I can go on home. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And he's saying, well, who is your son? Well, he works for Homeland Security, and he says, unless you can explain why you need me to get out the car, I don't have to get out the car. On my other phone, I had my daughter who's yelling, am I going to have to get on the plane and come out there? And I'm just trying to be cool because I'm cold, I'm hungry, and I want to really get high now because I ain't done nothing but be scared of these. And so finally, at the end of the day, the whole police force damn near was out there because I refused to get out the car. They couldn't understand why The cops couldn't get me out the car, so the head man came out. In the meantime, my doctor came, my doctor's husband came, the neighbor to them came, and I got my son and daughter on the phone. And my son then called my lawyer. So I said, you know, I had opened the window a little bit, gave them their my ID so they could see who I am. Check, I got no warrants. I'm a nurse. I'm a healer. I don't hurt nobody. Why are you bothering me? Give me my ticket. Let me go on home. I'm right here by the freeway. Long story short, I finally got a woman there. I got out the car. She wanted to shake me down. No, I don't want none of that. Well, then you got to sit down on the sidewalk. No, I ain't doing none of that because you get hemorrhoids. That's cold down there, you know. But you sit down there. I'm good. I'm dancing. I'm keeping warm because I ain't have no clothes on. I've been in the hot tub, blah, 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 blah. So I'm telling y'all all these stories because I thought I was badass enough to go to court, tell them I did nothing wrong. They didn't listen to me, so my lawyers, they took turns going to court. It's 3 of them. They took turns. We wore out Pleasanton. At the end of the day, ASA is an organization that I was a part of back in the day with Andre. We all formed it as an activist. Went to the police department to teach their rookies how to handle cannabis patients so that this kind of an incident wouldn't happen again. That was one of the other reasons why I became this cannabis nurse, to keep my people out of jail. I could go to court and testify for them, and we get our shit back. And sometimes we paid a little money because we had to pay the lawyer. But that was my mission, to keep us as safe as we could be. If they closed down a dispensary, we needed to open up 3 or 4 more. I would go to the dispensary where the cops was at to close them down, to say, this is a medical facility. They're taking care of sick people that look like me, okay? You cannot just close us down. We the people want them open. We need them for what is going on with us in our lives. So that's what I've done for the last 53 years. When I learned about cannabis and woke up to know that cannabis could make a person a survivor, I've been on that mission ever since. The more I can do to show that healing process of cannabis, I'm willing to do. At 73, I feel like I just turned 40, and I'm looking for that youngster. But my son older than them youngsters, so I can't mess with them, right? So I got to get these seniors back to life. So that's what I do. I do senior parties. I do, for Mother's Day, I'm gonna do a seniors high tea party, so they could dress up, feel gorgeous as they are, come out and get wined and dined, and a sit-down dinner, and then have our fabulous DJ change the mode and get us up and doing the cha-cha slide, et cetera, et cetera. You know? So anyway, that's another side of Linda J. Jackson. There's only one side left, and I'll wait till after Andre says something.
You know, I did just want to say, you know, more to what Tucky said, just as an example. We are having problems where, you know, multiple stolen cars driven through the shop to rob us. And we watched the video, and the cops are sitting out front watching because they said Alameda County, they're not allowed to confront or pursue for nonviolent crime, but they're over at Tucky's worried about the food vendors in his parking lot.
But don't forget to tell them that you paid for those cops to be there.
So it has been rough again, and one thing I have to say that really has firmed up for me is there was such negativity and stigma around cannabis. I didn't want to bring more. So I'd go through some things with people, and I wouldn't put it out there publicly because, you know, I don't want this bad look on cannabis. Right. But now I find out today that somebody that did me wrong later went and did him wrong. So one thing I'm learning today is we got to speak up. Yeah, we got to, you know, I'm used to speaking up against the cops and the powers that be, but you know what? We got to speak up against the bad apples in the community as well. So I learned that today.
Hallelujah. So Reggie told me how much time I got. We got about, he said I can go to 12:15 and open it up to you guys. If there's any questions for us, we got an open mic, a hot mic. We'll pass it around. Any questions, any questions, any questions, any statements? We want to hear from y'all. Hold on.
I just want to confirm real quick, was Cannabis Buyers Club working?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Come on, here. Here. Here.
Yeah, if they're making us talk on mics, you gotta talk on a mic too.
So I just wanted to, I came to your place on 66 by the Coliseum. The first day it opened, I was treated like royalty. And I just want to say thank you. And then I remember when your place was I bought fish from there for my daughter, and she's 23 now. And it's just amazing who you guys are in the community, because I'm in the community. And so much connectedness that's why we need to talk. Because I've been going there. My daddy was a tropical fish breeder. And when I was a child, he took me to that blue building. It was just a blue fish building when I was a kid. So now I know the people that, you know, and so growing up in Oakland, but yeah, your spot was the bomb. I wanted to perform there. And they said, yeah, whatever you want to do. And I had intended to come back. I got back there and it was closed down. I couldn't believe it. It was just a travesty. And my uncle had a hot dog stand across from you. And he was the only brother out there with hot dogs. And he would make them with all kind of ways. And he had a small cart, and they bothered him about it. He would only come on Raiders games. But it was some kind of thing going on. But I just want to commend everybody who fighting and everybody who I grew up looking at when I was a child. And my kids can come in there now and buy cannabis. Hey, safely. Because I didn't want them going down the street. I have 2 girls. And so when I finally was able to do that, I'm like, okay, you guys can get your cannabis, but you have to go to a dispensary because they putting fentanyl on the weed on the street. And that is what I wanted to also tell everybody. Please be careful with your kids when they are buying cannabis because they are lacing it with fentanyl and killing our babies. That's all I wanted to tell.
Pass it around. Somebody else wants to say something. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it because I don't get a lot. I sit at my store a lot. I'll just be sitting there randomly playing dominoes in the lounge, and I would get these stories and film them. And you could attest, like, I didn't know that you had been to my store to try to DJ, but I just said I had DJ equipment for everybody, microphones, because I wanted to create. My moniker for the Happy Lounge was to commune and consume. 99% of the people I know in my life I met because of weed, period. Some of my best friends are because of cannabis. People who I would never thought that I would have relationships with. Dave Chappelle, Scarface, Chris Rock. These kind of people are my friends because of fucking cannabis. You understand me? So to commune and consume is something very important. We want to get together and smoke. We got to get together and talk. Continue.
I just want to say, I think that's the danger, is that weed brings all of us together, and the powers that be, you know, that thrive on separation. That's why it's so dangerous.
So we got a time check. We got time for 2 more questions, and then we'll shut it down because we got to get out of here at 12. No rush, but 2 questions. Go ahead.
Well, I think I got a pretty quick one here.
No, go ahead.
My question is what I can keep doing to show my gratitude for what you guys have been doing and how much you've been changing the community. And Miss Linda J., I want to give gratitude to you and honor directly for changing my life just completely back in the day.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. It's been 20 years since we've seen each other, you know?
And you met today. I mean, it's
Yesterday, I
just
came over
fantastic.
yesterday.
Yeah, we used to talk about producing some pretty big events together and working with some powerful people, and we did some beautiful things too, you know. So
Super dope.
I'm just
Super
honored
dope.
to be here, and I'm giving respect.
That's that plant. That's that plant. That's that plant. I say the answer. I'm finna say the answer. You can answer too, but I say to answer your question, support the dispensaries. Nothing against whoever you support, but Stizzy are shit people. Don't support Stizzy. Nug, shit people. Don't support Nug. So support the people who aren't shit people, like her. You know what I'm saying? Support them. Go ahead.
I'll say definitely, you know, look who's in your community and giving back to your community. and supporting the people that are giving back is very important. The other thing is if anybody wants to be part of this thing that we're doing, with the Black Panthers, it's really exciting. More and more volunteers, we can build this thing. So there's things, spending your money, or if you want to come volunteer your time, that's needed too.
One more and we out of here.
I was gonna say, for people that have no status, that are from other countries and stuff like that, for us, a lot of the times we have a difficulty because if we smoke cannabis, it's a federal charge. Or if you're going through your immigration status and stuff like that, even if they catch you with a little bit of cannabis, I used to live in Georgia. My friends that were 15, 16 at the time when I used to hang out with them, they found just a roach and they got deported. So I appreciate Linda J for speaking up and saying hey, I decided to do this fight because if I don't, then who will? Right. So is there any programs or anything that people that have no status in the States, is there a way that we can go around those situations?
Can I respond? Yeah. Okay, so here's what my thoughts are, because those questions never go away. That was what I did. I don't even speak other languages, but the people that came to see me came in vans full of other languages. All I required was that the next year they could speak my language in some sort of way, so that if something happened to them, then we could communicate. Well, I put it out there not really believing it, but I was made to believe it because things happened where I did have to represent. And I'm not a lawyer, but I could always have one for you that could help you. I believe that we all should be medical. We all should be medical. And I'm in the process of trying to work that out so that one is cost effective in the long run. Yes, you pay money up front, because we got to pay licensing too. Even though I don't work as a nurse, I pay for licensing more than the RN do, more than some of the doctors do, because I want to continue to be a nurse to provide medical care. I'm allowed, our license said, our oath of practice said, we wrote them ourselves, we will, as medical professionals, aid and abet patients to feel better by ways necessary. I might have the words wrong, but we had aid and abet. So every time I would go to court, I'd take that statement with me because it's legit 50 odd years, so you can't change it. You can't change it. My doctors had the authority to go into the prisons and write recommendations for patients that had cancer issues. The state provided the Marinol. It didn't cure them, but it gave them comfortability. And the state provided that because they took them off the streets where they could get help. You know what I'm trying to say. I could go on and on and on. We helped youngsters, 15 and 16, that had medical illnesses, autism, ADHD, where the medicines made them worse versus better, but we had to monitor them. So I taught the families how to use cannabis from the rooter to the tutor, make their extracts, make their first aid kits to use for their elders who had the ulcers and the sores and the things like that. I had other vendors that would make the salves, but now that things are legal, I'm trying my best to get back out there to help again. You pay that once a year fee to the state, which can be from $50 to $100, but then you don't pay that state tax, to which they're already robbing this dispensary of. You can buy more medicine if you're a medical patient. So that saves you in money. So you get that money back that you've paid to the state for that seal up, and it protects you when you travel. I travel all over. I take my medicine with me. I don't bring it back, but I take it with me because I tell them I need that much when I get there, if that makes any sense to you. You don't get to dictate that to me because you don't know my body and you're not my physician unless you became that this moment, and I don't think so. So this is who I am and what I stand for.
Can I just add on that really fast though? Like with immigration, a parking ticket could be the trigger. So I think it is important to have a medical recommendation, but whether they're going to honor that or not is kind of iffy. I think that's why the cannabis lounges are more important than ever, so that people do have places that they can consume and not have to travel. Yeah, because it's just unfair.
Yeah.
Very.
There's no rhyme and reason. It's just unfair.
Yeah, the reason
It
I bring
worked
the
before.
no, sorry.
It worked before when we had the lounges where you could medicate before you would leave. And that way, and then you put your stuff in the trunk. But if you're medical, nobody can prevent you from using your medical because they are not a licensed doctor.
Thank you, and I appreciate that because, like, I know a lot of people, like, from my family that struggle with PTSD, and even myself from gun violence and other things, and I depend on cannabis to, like, help me out through some of my trauma or, like, panic attacks. Like, my panic attacks have calmed down so drastically now because I consume cannabis when I'm going through these processes. Because a lot of times people don't know how to react or how to handle the situations, and it's like, it's kind of hard, you know, but I appreciate the information. Yes. I appreciate everything that y'all are doing and having those lounges for other people too. Thank y'all.
Super dope. So in closing, we appreciate you guys and your time to come even listen to us. Well, I do. I'm not gonna speak for y'all.
I'm so stoked. And if you want to check me after we get off this stage for further conversation, I love to talk.
Cool.
I can talk.
So I'll let, if you look for me, I'm Tucky Blunt everywhere, TuckyBlunt, everywhere, all platforms. I teach, I train, I mentor. I don't do it for free, but I'm fairly cheap. If you want to, anything like that, teach classes, whatever. Where can they find you, young lady?
Andre Special. I'm at CBCB and Ganja Love Goddess on Instagram.
Ganja Mama, 3033 Shattuck Boulevard, Berkeley. I'm the second person you see when you come in. And if I'm not smiling, if I'm not happy, joy, I will be. Just give me a moment. And I expect you to be the same when you come out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.